me my first senior tournament at what, 16, 17. And he really didn't even beat me. He had the name, he had the backing. I fucked him up. If he won't, tell him to.
You don't want to see me fight Terence Crawford. I'll beat that boy ass. Yeah. Tell Bob how I am. Tell Bob how I am.
What was supposed to be a simple face-off quickly turned into one of the most intense moments boxing fans have seen in years. The atmosphere was already electric as two of boxing's biggest rivals, Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr., finally stood face-to-face ahead of their highly anticipated rematch. But nobody expected things to spiral out of control this fast. The tension was obvious from the moment both fighters stepped onto the stage. Neither man looked willing to back down. The crowd could feel the hostility as the stare-down grew longer and more intense with every passing second. Then, suddenly, words were exchanged. The verbal shots quickly escalated, and before anyone could react, security rushed toward the stage as chaos erupted between the two camps. Fans in attendance were left stunned as shouting broke out from all directions. Team members jumped in, officials scrambled to separate everyone, and the entire event seemed moments away from turning into a full-scale brawl. The crowd erupted with cheers as cameras captured every second of the explosive confrontation. For Crawford, this fight is about proving that his dominance was no accident. For Spence, it's a chance to rewrite history and show the world that the outcome of their first meeting does not define his legacy. Both fighters have made it clear that this rematch is personal, and judging by this heated encounter, neither man is willing to give an inch. Social media exploded within minutes as clips of the face-off spread across the internet. Fans immediately began debating who gained the mental edge, while others predicted that the rematch could become one of the biggest fights of the decade. If this face-off is any indication of what's coming next, Fight Night could be absolute mayhem. The bad blood is real, the rivalry is hotter than ever, and the countdown to Crawford vs. Spence has officially reached another level. One thing is certain, when these two warriors finally meet again, fireworks are guaranteed.
Shit up and running with it, that's a lie. I will smash that boy. But it would be no point, you know what I mean? If I smash Ray Robinson, what is you fans is gonna...
The guards and gloves were taken off. What started as a mysterious Instagram story quickly turned into a full-on digital fight when both fighters went live on Instagram and insulted each other's jobs, personal lives, and unfiltered vitriol in front of thousands of shocked followers. Twitter feeds are now places where arguments happen. People on TikTok were in a hurry to clip and share all the time. The repeat that fans wanted turned into the reality show they never thought it would be.
Go fight somebody that's on your level, buddy. Now, let's get to this Gary Russell situation. You know what I mean? Because I see dude is...
The spark was an Instagram story of Crawford shadowboxing with the caption, "I cooked him once. He doesn't want to be near the smoke ever again." Within hours, Spence responded with his own live show. He sipped tequila and smiled as he said Crawford's win last year was a fluke and was set up by politics. After that, two of boxing's strongest warriors got into a full-on vocal fight. This time, though, the fight was shown on phone screens. Even though Spence was clearly mad, he didn't hold back. He made fun of Crawford's comments after the fight, imitated his voice, and even went after Crawford's training camp, saying they were covering up a publicity stunt.
I was like, yes, keep it on. They kept it on. You see what I did?
Yeah, you went to work. I had to pay some money. That's my guy too. You know, Danny know I love him. That's my guy.
The comebacks that Crawford always makes are very sharp, and he did it in real time. He then talked about Spence's health problems and how much he drinks. It only took less than 24 hours for over 300,000 people to watch the live video and react on it. No one could take their eyes off of it. Some said it was famous, and others said it was embarrassing. There is tension, disdain, and rawness. It was the kind of show that Twitter fight fans want. By the end, both boxers had ruled out any chance of a respectful build-up to a second fight. While organizers worked quickly behind the scenes to limit the damage, fans were already taking screenshots and recording history as it happened. It looks like Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. are now really angry with each other. Boom. The second fight has been called off. The breaking news came as a surprise. The second fight has been officially called off. Boxing News 24 says that the much-anticipated follow-up fight has been called off behind closed doors because of health issues, broken contracts, and money problems. But let's be honest, the news stories only tell half of the story. According to people with ties to both sides, talks have been tough from the start. Spence allegedly asked for a bigger share of the purse, saying that he needed to make it worth his while after getting beat up the first time they met. Crawford's team, on the other hand, stayed strong. Then there were rumors of health problems. The panel was worried about Spence's eye injury and possible neurological problems from last year's penalty, but his fans say there was foul play.
It just started pouring out of nowhere.
After the fight was over, both fighters went back on social media, but this time they were more sad. Crawford, who never misses a chance to end something poetically, posted a black and white Instagram story of himself hitting the heavy bag at the gym with the words "It's okay, though, it's nice to know it's over. Ma broa, I hope all goes well with you. Stay awake." His voice was cool. He was being very cold in his tone. Spence, on the other hand, said in a strange mix of guilt and denial in a news release, "Last time wasn't me. There are too many punches and hooks. Not able to see well. I was wrong, but I'm not scared. Now I just need to be smart." World Boxing News says he even hinted at retiring, putting long-term health ahead of short-term attention. That's when the dream rematch turned into a lesson. One that is full of pride, money, bad timing, and the cruel fact that the fight outside the ring is often the bloodiest of all. Fans did what they always do as soon as they heard the show was being cancelled. Form internet groups and fight each other. Roasting Crawford Spence too became a trend on Twitter very quickly. Sorry, X, there were a lot of hot takes, fight memes, plot theories, and desperate pleas on the timeline. Camp Spence fought back and said that leaving was the best thing to do. They focused on damage that would last and preserving the legacy, and they said that Crawford's team was using dirty boxing politics. At the same time, Team Crawford turned into a full-on attack mode. When you use TikTok, it lights up like a sign in Las Vegas, with names like "When the Smoke Clears" and "Bud vs. The Truth," dramatic music, and fake tears. Then edits turned the social media drama into telenovela-style soap operas. Live discussions happened on Instagram boxing pages. There were a lot of anonymous tweeters and YouTube clips that looked like they were meant to get people to click on them. Not even retired stars were left out. Roy Jones Jr. said it was a terrible shame. But Shannon Briggs summed it up in the Briggs way. "Let's go, champ, okay? I get it. There may never be a second Crawford vs. Spence fight, but fans will always remember the first one on the internet." Boxing fans may not agree, but experts are not holding back. The fight on social media between Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. is getting attention from top commentators and former fighters. The fight is happening in real time, like a Netflix documentary series, and people are reacting with everything from worrying to criticism. MMA Junkie didn't hold back when they wrote in the title, "A terrible idea from day one," saying a rematch would have been more of a health risk than a headline. One top commentator said that Spence looked like he had a concussion during the fight last year. If you don't believe every neurosurgeon in the country, you don't run it back. When asked about the noise, boxing podcaster Chris Manx said, "We're not talking about two guys in their prime going toe-to-toe. It was time for Spence, not a second beating."
590 days he been out. That's nasty work. That's crazy.
592.
That's crazy. I love Spence too, but like 592, that's crazy.
At the same time, Teddy Atlas, who never minced words, said even more. He said on his YouTube show, "This was Spence's crew finally showing some brains. The man took off his clothes in that ring the last time. There was no fight. It was a lesson, and Bud had the chalk." The Spence saving himself story is not believed by everyone, though. Some insiders, particularly those closer to the Texas boxing scene, view this as a missed moment of redemption. "This was his Rocky II moment," said former welterweight king Timothy Bradley from the ringside of the ESPN broadcast. The doubters would have been quieted by a comeback battle. Going away instead makes it seem like Crawford is always going back to his thoughts.
Where you at, bro? He ain't even on where he at, man. I don't see him tweeting. I don't see him on TikTok or whatever. Instagram. He ain't saying nothing. Spence, where you at, bro? Man, we love you, man. Come back, man. It's like, come on, man. You can't let this fight against Bud.
It comes down to two main points of view. Some people think Spence avoided disaster and kept what little of his health and legacy he had left. The other person thinks he avoided responsibility, which meant he could not be known as an all-time great. No matter what your opinion is, one thing is clear. There is writing on the wall, but the experts don't agree on what it means. The big question now that the digital gunfire is over is, what will happen next? Terence "Bud" Crawford sees the ring as a playground and starts to move around in it. His team says that he is interested in Jermall Charlo, who is still recovering from his fight with Canelo, but is still a dangerous target that can be bought. You could also put on weight. Crawford has been luring people in with training videos that show him getting bigger and sparring with heavier opponents. He shared an interesting quote on Twitter: "Weight classes are guidelines, not limitations. Let's eat." Bud wants more titles, more names, and maybe the chance to become the first person to win titles in more than one class. And the man wants to live forever. The road ahead for Errol "The Truth" Spence Jr. is less clear, as speculation and stories swirl around. Some people close to him say that he is thinking about taking a long break from boxing and maybe even quitting. Others think that Spence might agree to a tune-up fight, maybe against a less well-known boxer, to get back on track and calm down some of the noise. There is, however, one wild card that can't be used. Spence is happy. He's down, but not out. If you believe the strange message he left in posts, no. Everyone thinks this is the end. The second part is still unfinished. Is that a fake retirement? Taking a step toward a return? Or just a response to the fans? Then there's the fight on social media, which is still going on.
It's just like, come on, destroy you, man. Like, dang, somebody get an APB out on Spence, man.
In reality, both guys know that unfinished business makes money. And they're friends. They're not happy with a verbal TKO. They want a bell, a judge, and 12 tough rounds to end the fight. That's what we might get, too. Maybe Crawford fights Charlo and wins, making him impossible to stop. Spence might get better, start over, and come back with something to show. And just maybe, the biggest repeat in the history of welterweight boxing will happen later, be bigger, and be more exciting than anyone thought possible. It's not just fighting, that's why. Here is Shakespeare dressed up in hand wraps. Keep your tools ready and your alerts turned on, because the next episode could come at any time. Keep reading, because in boxing, a grudge lasts longer than a glove. This one could even make up its own story. Okay, everyone, sign up for MMA Motive and turn on notifications to never miss great content. Also, check out our other videos for the latest boxing news, moments, events, and activities. Peace until next time.